Welcome, listeners, to the World of Dragons podcast. I am the bottomless abyss, the shadow lurking beneath the water. I am the poling current, grasping undertow, the deep black. I cause ships to drown and men to fear. I will drag you down, down into the endless slumber beneath the waves.
Your mind labels him as Abyss.
And this is Bantam the White Black.
And I've got a shake stick. Chick, 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 chick.
Dilitan could not be with us today. The poor ruby Draken has been assaulted by a horde of very tiny beings.
And now he is rife with a dis-ease.
We do hope he recovers. If not, I would simply just take his lands. But alas. He has sent to us a little one of his little kobolds, Venter, to fill in for him.
Hello. I'm Venter, the one of Dilitan's servant kobolds, so I decided to fill in for him. He was kind enough to let me take his role.
And if Dilitan should perish, you will belong to me.
Okay.
That's the correct answer.
Just okay, just go with it. This week we are doing the visual novel game, Golden Treasure the Great Green, made by, I think he just calls his studio Ludwig. What's the name of his studio?
Dreaming Door Studios.
Yeah.
That's it, Dreaming Door Studios.
But there's lots of people that actually worked on the game itself.
Well, yeah.
We did announce on the Reddit that we may be getting him for an interview. That's still kind of up in the air just because there's been some scheduling issues. If we get him in, I'll be sure to ask him if he goes into like a studio and works with these people, or if it's like he makes it in his basement and just like commission stuff from them. I'm just curious is all.
And we are still very interested in possibly getting an interview. If you're listening to this, please, it would make all of us very happy.
To do what?
Interview.
Oh, you're telling him directly, give
Yes.
us an interview because it'll make us happy.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to the listeners too. I'm like, what,
No,
what do we want?
We do have a lot of listeners that are fans of the game, and they are very excited at the prospect of getting to interview you. But no pressure. If you're not up to it, that's fine.
Yeah. Like always, we will start with a brief review of the game itself, trying to avoid anything spoilerific, kind of just give you an idea if the game is right for you. Then we have our mid-break, and we come back and get into some more deeper discussion about its story and its characters.
And would discussion of any areas that would be in the demo count as non-spoilers then, or?
I haven't played the demo. How far does the demo go?
Just through the first chapter.
So, part 1?
Yeah, part 1, there we go, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I guess that should be safe if it's part of the demo. So yeah, if you want to play it for yourself, you just stop at the halfway point and come back. If you're on the fence about it, I still recommend stopping at the halfway point, because this is one of those games that focuses a lot on exploration and story. So playing it more than once is difficult, I guess. Kind of like the Outer Wilds, it's like, or Undertale. It's definitely much more magical your first playthrough.
But it is easier.
Yeah. To help facilitate that, we actually will be doing our first giveaway. Hooray, milestones!
Yes, Ludwig has been incredibly gracious enough to gift us 3 shinies in the form of Steam keys, which we are going to be giving away to 3 lucky listeners, 2 of which will be given away on our official Twitter account, and the third one will be given away in an email. To enter for that third one, send the show an email and tell us what your favorite episode of ours is, and just say hi, and we will determine a winner randomly from those responses.
Yeah. So how do they win on Twitter?
So on Twitter, you just retweet the tweet that will be going up. As of this recording, it is scheduled to go up before the episode, but it will be running through until the 2nd of January, so you have plenty of time, and we will then do a random selection from 2 of the retweets.
Yeah. We were originally going to do them all on Twitter just because that would be easier. But then we thought, some people don't like Twitter and like avoid it on principle.
Or don't have an account.
Yeah, so it's like, we'll just do one through email for those of you who do not use Twitter. So let's get right into the review then, yeah? Yes. I don't think there's any other announcements I forgot. Don't usually have announcements anyway. Alright, so, the game. Where to start?
That's the beginning?
The beginning. Obviously, yes.
Well,
but like,
I will say this, that I had heard of the game. I had seen it pop up on my Steam a couple times. like you might be interested in this game. And I never really gave it a shot, and I'm really upset that I didn't. But when Ray first pitched the game to me, he said it's like a visual novel, and I was like, oh, that's neat, But after playing it, it is so much better than a visual novel. It is still very visual novel-esque. The writing is god tier.
Yes.
The way the world is fleshed out.
Yeah, just so open.
The way things are explained to you. Everything about this game is fantastic. There are some gameplay elements, including hunting mini games and
mini dungeons,
time-based puzzles. So visual novel alone kind of does it an injustice, but it is at its core a visual novel.
Agreed.
Yeah, so it definitely has some time management aspects to it, because you are given a map that has nodes on it that you can go explore and trigger events and all that. And you only have the map for a set amount of time. Set amount of, I guess, actions you could call it. I don't think it's even possible to complete the map 100%. Like, playing super optimally, I don't even think you could. But you can get close if you know what you're doing. Your first time through, you'll probably only get about half of the nodes done.
I can get them all done.
I'll roast you for that later. So gameplay-wise, it's mostly a narrative-driven story where you choose dialogue options and they will affect the outcome of certain things. You do have 4 stats tied to each of the elements: fire, earth, water, and air, which are also then tied to certain, I guess, physical aspects. Like, water is your stealth and how flexible you are. Fire is just your raw strength, and air is your intellect. These stats will go up throughout the game based on the events and your
choices.
Answer to them. Yeah, your choices would put them up. Playing as a dragon, you do collect treasure and get artifacts. Some of these artifacts will empower you.
Passively, actively, or consumably.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only real, I guess, active gameplay element would be the hunting, right?
Yes.
Barely.
When you hunt, you use your stats to sneak up on your prey. And if you are discovered, you can give chase, and giving chase is essentially clicking on the screen a whole bunch of times to
clicking on the prey itself.
Clicking on the prey itself to close distance, and then when you get close enough, you can drag the mouse across it Amaterasu style and slash it open.
Yep.
Yeah, but like the chase scene is the only part of the game that it has any like
rapid.
I can't think of the word.
Rapid interaction, or
whatever, like any sort of timed interaction. Like everything else, you can just sit there and wait. The combat itself, when you get into combat, it's turn-based, and the sneaking is another like narrative dialogue box thing where you pick your dialogue option to strike, sneak, observe, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Combat is also rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Fire beats air, water beats fire, and air beats water.
And earth is neutral.
Earth is neutral. Earth is for things like bracing for attack, observing.
No, Earth has some bite attacks.
Does it?
Yeah. The idea is that Earth doesn't play into the element triangle at all. If you do an Earth against their fire, the one who's determined the winner there is just who has the strongest level of that element. So level 4 Earth loses to level 5 fire. But yeah, that's basically the gameplay. How long would you say a playthrough from beginning to end takes? Your first time through.
First time, I'd probably say
assuming
around
you don't die.
4 to 5 hours, would you say?
I guess it really comes down to how fast you read.
Yeah, that too.
So I actually looked at my time. I had to restart about 3 times, but I didn't get very far in those 3 times, mostly because I didn't realize some of the horrible mistakes I was making. But overall, after having completed the game and gotten one of the endings, I have about 15 to 20 hours. But I also...
Really?
Yeah.
I have 21 total playtime, and I've got all the endings.
Well, there are reasons for that. Like, that we'll get into later.
Oh, did you, leave the window open while going somewhere?
No.
I was amazed you got to the ending as fast as you did, Ray.
Yeah, well, I'm good at visual novels. I am the book dragon.
And paying attention to hunger meters.
Oh yeah, there is a hunger meter, and you can starve to death, so keep an eye on that.
2 of my deaths were starving to death. 2 of my permanent deaths. I think I died to starvation probably 6 to 7
wow.
times. Well, because yes, I'm not paying attention, but at the same time, the world is so beautiful and the writing is so good that my first thought as soon as the new day started was, I want to go out and look for something else. I did not once think, hey, I should probably eat something.
Yep.
My first and foremost thought was, oh my god, I can't wait to see what this node does.
Yeah, that was me too. Like, I got distracted by like my little quest I was going on. I wasn't even paying attention to the hunger meter, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm dead. Okay.
It wouldn't be until the new day dawned and the text turned red, and it says, if you don't eat something today, you will be destroyed. And I was like, oh, crap. And yeah.
Would you two then say that the hunger meter, the energy bar, whatever you call it, and the need to hunt detracted from the experience?
No, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say it detracted, but I think it should have been a little bit more obvious. The UI is really intricate and beautifully designed, but it does. I do have some additional insights. Feel free to remove this if you want, Ray. But your health does have a number, and at one point in my playthrough, I had 82 health. You wouldn't know that based on the UI, because your health is directly tied to a giant jade dragon sigil on the bottom of the screen, and as you take damage, the sigil will get cracked and damaged.
And change colors.
Yeah, your hunger meter is a little golden double helix that moves along the bottom of the dragon. The only reason I know that health has a numeric value is because I used Cheat Engine. And Cheat Engine would show me that I was taking like 14 damage or 17 damage. But when you reach a certain threshold, your health bar will crack. So you don't actually know exactly how much health you have.
Which I think is wonderful, because in real life, you don't have a numerical value to how fit you are.
I completely 100% agree.
Yes.
But I do feel like the hunger meter could have been maybe a different color, because the gold blended in with the green far too easily, and that was one of the reasons I never noticed it.
I mean, it started flashing red when it got low.
Yeah, when it got really low, but by then there was so little of the health bar that I didn't even look, because it tells you the same message every day when you wake up, and every time I saw that sun sigil rising up into the sky to indicate the new day, I was immediately clicking on the area of the screen that would send me out into the open.
Yes. So every morning the game says a new day has dawned, and you continue your life in the whatever map you're in. And then if you click next at the bottom, like if you're going to go through more text, it would say, you are hungry, you need to find food. I never clicked next. I knew I never starved, not once, ever, because I'm a good dragon. But I was able to pay attention to my hunger bar and always been like, oh, I need to go hunting today. All right. So I never starved. So I never had this problem. But the point is, I never clicked next on that dialog box, so I never got the message in the first place of if I was hungry or not. Good on me for being able to keep track on it. But people like Bantam and Dilitan, because he starved a few times too,
and me.
And Venter, they probably something could have been done to help it stand out a bit more.
Or maybe like force you to, like, when it's that low, it'll force you into a hunting mission, whichever one you can like get to at that time.
You've gone mad with hunger. And it could even be used as a form of punishment, because it would always go to the one closest to your den. And therefore, you could actually hunt it out. Overhunt it.
Yeah.
And so that could actually be used as a form of punishment for not taking care of your hunger sooner.
Especially considering one of the achievements says don't overhunt any grounds.
Yep.
And it's like, if you're doing really well and then you forgot, it's like, oh no, you overhunted. It's like, shit.
I never had that issue.
I never had that issue.
It's really
either.
easy to not overhunt. I don't get it.
Well, the fact that you can hunt 3 times per day, so you select a hunting node, and you hunt there 3 times, and if you're successful, I mean, that's usually enough to fill your bar. And then the next day...
And that only moves it down one level on the map.
Which will turn it yellow.
Yeah. Yep. What if... Because I love making games harder, right? That's my thing. Dark Souls, yeah?
Yeah.
What if every prey you took pulled it down one level? So if you hunted twice on that one day, it's now red the next day.
Oof,
that would make it worse.
Well, they would at least have to give you an indication...
They would also need to have more hunting grounds on the map, yeah. But like, what if that's how it worked?
That would be really good. They would just need to give you a very distinct warning after your first hunt that, the prey in the area is now wary, and then after your second hunt, it'd be like, if you keep this up, there will be nothing left.
Well, there was the tutorial where it takes you through 3 hunts, right? What if it took you through 2, and then it said, we will not be hunting a 3rd time because that would drive prey away from this area completely?
That would be beautiful, yeah. Again, there's nothing wrong with the way that it is now. It's just for a super hard mode, that would be really interesting.
Yeah. As far as helping the player know when they're starving, how do you feel about a stomach growl sound effect in the morning if
Absolutely.
you're hungry?
Yep.
On top of that, they should probably put like some sort of visual effect in the corners, like tunneling vision or maybe some veins or something.
I don't know. I've never starved. I don't. That definitely for being wounded, but I don't know if that's something that would happen for starving.
Yeah, that's true. No, sound effects should be fine. It's just, as I said, I had seen that message so many times when I wanted to be like, okay, I just explored this area, revealed the nodes, and I immediately know what I want to do this day. So as soon as the sun sigil was there, I knew where the area to click was to go out into the map, and I was immediately clicking it.
Speedy dragon.
Yep. To just wake up. Oh boy.
Basically, so that's basically how the gameplay works. I would actually call it a dragon life simulator because you had to watch things like hunger.
And would you guys agree that like the beginning part in the egg is the most boring part of the game?
No,
which no. The first?
No. I loved the egg part. So the game, it has a prologue, which is you being in the egg, and it's extremely narrative. There are a couple of choices that will determine your starting stats, but gameplay doesn't start until after you hatch, obviously, and get out and into the world. I loved the egg part.
It does give you lore, but to me, I was like, I want to do stuff, not just learn about the world.
So,
dude, the egg part could have been longer, and I've been happy.
So, my only defense on the egg part is that when you're starting a brand new game, unless you're going for a very specific achievement, which is to beat the game in 1 life from the egg, you're only ever really going to see the egg part once, because if you die, you can then restart after you've hatched. When you reach Area 2, you can then restart from Area 2. And same thing with Area 3. Mm-hmm. So the game does have, like, I understand you might not want to go through the entirety of the first section. If you died, here, start over. The only thing that impacts is there is an achievement for beating the game with 1 life. 1 permanent life. You technically have 3 lives each playthrough.
Yeah, the game handles your deaths, your, I guess, not permanent deaths in a really interesting way, whereas you wake up having thought what you experienced was a dream for that day. I thought that was a cool way to kind of like hand wave it.
Yeah.
It just sucked. Like I guess I can't get to that because that's spoilers. I'll talk about that later.
We'll do that later. All right. So that's basically all for the gameplay. The art.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
It was very beautiful art. It's a little, the style is very, I'm going to say painterly, towards like the colors kind of are muddled and blend in like paintbrush style, right?
Mm-hmm. But it's still beautiful.
It is still beautiful. The scenes are all very, very mildly animated. I don't know what the technique used for that is, where you have like, parallax, that's what it's called.
Parallax, yep.
Yeah. To where like the camera moves slightly and some things can sway, which is, I felt like that was much better than a static screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, something I loved is the little essence lines moving through everything, particularly the other creatures.
To let you know, like, what their stats are. Or not their stats, but their elemental affinities.
Yeah. I mean, sure, yeah, it has gameplay ramifications, but I thought it was also just really beautiful, especially the, what does he call the deer? Surefoot?
Surefoot.
Surefoot is the goats.
Woodstrider.
Oh, yeah, you're Woodstrider, yeah.
Yeah. The little essence lines they have for their crowns, absolutely beautiful.
It also goes to show you that Draak kind can actually see on more levels than a typical person would.
Yeah, it took me like 80% of my first playthrough. I got towards the end before I realized, oh wait, these lines are actually there? I thought that was just an artistic direction he wanted to go in, but no, I can actually see those.
Yep.
And then it took me all the way to the last scene of the game to realize that the crowns, or halos, whatever you want to call them, that all the dragons have, were also actually there. You can actually see those.
Yep. And it's made a little bit more apparent when you start investigating some of the domesticated animals that are in certain maps. The domesticated animals, their sigils are very boring and simple because their lives have been boring and simple. They've never known true struggle, so they'll usually just have like a little square, or like a little line or something. Their sigils are very bland.
I think the cats had a decent design.
Well, yeah, that's because cats will never be cow, but the dogs had pretty simple ones, and so did the sheep and the cows. And
can I just say that the fact that while hunting I can find a cat and kill it made me so happy.
You don't like cats?
I do not like cats.
He does not like cats.
Cats are assholes.
Like, did you notice that? I don't know if both of you had gone to the cats in the barn, but if you look, the one that's supposed to be pregnant, if you wait long enough, it actually shows the little elemental sigils for all the babies that's in the mother.
Oh, really?
I did not go to the hut myself, but I saw Bantam there because I wanted to watch part of his playthrough, so I had him stream it to me. But I'd never noticed that.
But yeah, I sided. So my first ever playthrough when I got to the cats, I helped the cats and then I bowed to them, and I saw
because you're a sucker for cats.
And I love cats.
Your reputation has diminished.
And then it said your reputation has diminished among Drakkine, and I was like, what? Oh, whoop. When I restarted the game and I went back a second time, I burned their little hut to the ground.
Wow.
Your reputation has increased.
No, nothing happened.
I think it draws attention by the humans.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah. Really, you don't even get the reputation as a fierce survivor? You don't even get that?
No. Because you're attacking like a docile creature.
You tend to get that for doing very aggressive things.
Well,
so yeah, the game also has like 4 different reputation stats.
Compassion,
we'll go into more what they do.
Self-sacrifice.
We'll go more into what they do later.
I'm just saying what they are: compassion, self-sacrifice, ferocity, and survival.
Compassion and self-sacrifice are the same one.
Oh,
then there's
just 2.
Then it's compassion, self-sacrifice, which is the blue text. There's a red text, which is survival and fierce among the kin. There's an orange one for just sheer raw reputation.
You're right.
Oh yeah, the reputation. Yeah, so there's 3.
And then you could count the humans knowing about you on the first map as one of them too.
All right.
So hold on, I did the math before. As far as the art goes, in the gallery there are 17 pages, and each one is 3x4. So that's 12 times 17. It's close to 200 images,
which is nice.
It's a lot of art,
and every single one of them have some sort of movement or flow, or like, without spoiling anything, there is one dragon that you can talk to. That is, the entire thing is drawn to look like stained glass, and it is beautiful.
Yeah.
They have like a pearlescent sheen, and you can actually see the light moving across it.
We'll get onto that when we get into some story stuff in the spoiler part, because it's really important why it looks like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, point being, beautiful art. Music, dear God, the music.
Fantastic as well. I love myself some piano.
Yeah, I don't admit this often, but
Here it comes.
I cried like 3-4 times. And I feel like most of it was because the music just added so much to the scene.
The music has done more in this game than I have ever seen music do in a game before. I can't recall the exact moments, but there were times where the piano was just soft and gentle, and then you see something as you're advancing the dialogue, and the music suddenly stings and changes, and it was very uncomfortable in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, ooh, like I felt a chill, and I don't feel that often.
Yep. This is the first soundtrack that I have ever purchased on Steam. I have bought other soundtracks, like physical copies or whatever, but this is the first soundtrack I bought on Steam. So, congratulations, Dreaming Door. Achievement get.
And the composer, right? Jim something, I think, right?
Jim Gabriel? I don't know.
Yeah, Jim Gabriel.
I don't even want to guess his name and be wrong about it, so we'll just go with Jim.
Yes, his name is Jim Gabriel.
Oh, cool. I win. I want you two to try and guess. I may have told you, hopefully I didn't. The earliest scene in the game that got me emotional.
Oh, you're telling me, so I'll stay out of this.
Okay, Bantam, guess.
Wait, why are you staying out of it?
Because he knows the answer.
Because he told me. I know what it is.
It's you're seeing your parent dead.
Nope. That actually made me angry.
That made me angry too. That's true.
So that's like 10 minutes into the game, but I still feel like that's a spoiler, but it's not.
Yeah, it's like that. That's
it's not forced. Is it forced?
So I assume both of you went
ahead
and charged in trying to kill the humans?
No, because I understand my limitations.
I understood that I was going to get killed.
Again, I am a good dragon. I know what I'm capable of.
I understood, but my emotions were too strong at that moment. I didn't die. I pulled out before I died, but I took some damage.
Yeah, I'm going to be vague about this just because it is an unlock, even though it's super early on. But one of the first unlocks you can get, like the very first one in the game, I chose the wrong option because I was like, there's no way, right? I would never do that.
Same with me as well.
I had to go against my better nature to actually get the unlock.
So I know what choice he's talking about, and I would have taken the same option that both of you did, but he told me to take the other option, and it was pretty
that's
entertaining.
why when I was watching you, I was like, all right, don't click, but tell me what you would pick. Okay, good. Good to know that, but do this one instead because unlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way what he refers to as unlocks is in this game, all the achievements that are on Steam, as well as the unlocks in game, are tied to tarot cards. When you unlock a tarot card, you unlock the achievement. So you know.
Oh, right. We should have mentioned that in the gameplay section because the game tries to be slightly roguelite-ish in the sense that when you die, you start all the way back over, with the exception of bookmarks in the storyline.
Yeah.
But you can unlock things through the tarot cards or through animal masteries to increase your stats permanently through any playthrough.
So each subsequent playthrough will get a lot easier. Some of the tarot cards will let you start with more treasure. They'll let you start with a huge boost to a certain mastery or a small boost to all masteries. So even if you got to like this third area and then died permanently and had to start over, your next playthrough is going to be a lot easier.
Unless you somehow avoided getting any tarot cards in any animal masteries at all.
I mean,
that means no hunting.
It's possible. I didn't get any masteries because I went around at like, I think the first hunt I ever did, I got just 3 squirrels, but I just immediately snuck up on and killed them. I didn't study them. I didn't brace against their attacks, which also helps you master them. And then the next time I went out hunting, I picked a completely different animal. So at the most I ever had like 3 or 5 points in any animal. And I didn't know that the masteries are actually tied to stat boosts that you can carry over into a new game.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'm going to finish off this tangent real fast. I loved the hunting. It added to the immersion of being a Draak life simulator. But as far as the mastery for the animals goes, I feel like that should have been tweaked slightly because getting the animal masteries felt very grindy. Like extremely grindy.
I will confirm. Yeah, when you told me about mastering animals and I started doing it, it's essentially observe, sneak up, observe, sneak up, observe, and then keep observing until it seems a little bit alert. Then attack it, and then when you're doing the dance, if you don't immediately kill it, or
okay, so then I don't know what Ludwig's intention for how to get them was, but the way that I figured out to do it, and if you don't want to be, this isn't like story spoiler, but spoiling as far as game technique, skip ahead 30 seconds. But the way I figured it out was you get as close as you can, so approach twice, then just keep clicking observe until it spots you, because when it spots you while you're that close, it'll run. So you're not going to lose it, it'll just run. So then you chase it. When you finish the chase, do not do the swipe attack because that'll pull you into combat. Then when in combat, you just brace over and over and over and over until you stop getting the little tinks saying that you're getting mastery.
Yeah.
And then if you're super wounded, pull back, go back to your cave and sleep. If you're not super wounded, then go ahead and kill it and eat. But the thing is because that's kind of what I naturally figured out in order to get the masteries, it ended up feeling really grindy and very immersion breaking to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like rather than needing 20 points, you should have only needed like 5 points. And you don't get them for observing or you get 1 observing per hunt and 1 for killing per hunt. But you don't get any for repeated observes or for repeatedly bracing.
And there are a lot of animals to master as well.
Yeah. I feel like some of them aren't even on the map. Like I
Some
only
of them-
got them because I got a bunch of knowledge from events.
Yeah.
No, I think they're all on the map.
But just like
gotta
really
look.
randomly and I just never saw them, I guess.
Well, like Ray mentioned that he at one point, and yes, I'm going to say this to embarrass you, he at one point died to a cat. And I said, oh, then you went to the hut. And he went, no. And I was like, he said that he randomly encountered a cat on one of the hunts. So
I lost the elemental clash twice.
So I
and it killed me.
believe what they do is that each hunt is marked on the map by a certain animal. So let's use the one that's closest to the very beginning of the game, the squirrel.
The squirrel.
Mhm.
But there's also 2 other animals, and I believe that there might be more. But the squirrel is always there, guaranteed. But the other 2
Yeah.
will cycle.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what happens.
100% confirmed that's how it works. You have the guaranteed animal and then 2 that are pulled from a pool for each hunting ground. you can get to the point where the portal itself is so small that the second two options will either be the same as the guaranteed one or the same as each other. I've had that happen a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, after he taught me how to do masteries, I basically did just go engage in combat and then just brace over and over and over until I stopped getting the tings. And I remember there were many times where he would actually be in my room watching me, and I would just be like, click 14, click 15, click 16, and then I'd be like, oh, good, it's mastered, and then I'd kill it.
Yeah. So less mastery needed, less things give it to you. But yeah,
whatever. I would say keep it exactly the way it is already. Just reduce it down to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, you never. So you guessed the dead creator, the dead parent was my first emotional bout.
Yeah.
That is incorrect. The first time I got emotional was the main menu upon loading the game the first time.
Oh, right. You did tell me that, and I forgot.
So first off, the music, right? The music added a whole lot to it. But then the fact that the main menu is just a picture of your egg, and instead of new game, it says new life. I don't know why that hit me so hard, but it did. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know why it hit me so hard. Or like part of it anyway. So I guess I'm going to go into the tangent here, gushing about the game. This game was borderline perfect for me, right? Like ever since like 6-7 years ago, I had in my head the idea of the perfect Dragon Life simulator game that I was going to hopefully make one day if I ever had the resources or knowledge to do so. So I'm sitting here with this idea in my head of the perfect Dragon game, and then I played this game, and it is so close to my idea, it's uncanny. Like, it's a little spooky how close it was. Of course, the idea in my head was a 3D game because everything's better in 3D. Quotation marks sometimes. So there were definitely some main differences, but because it was so close, I started to see a lot of similarities of stuff that I wanted to do in my game, and one of them was having the game start with you in the egg. My idea was in the egg, you were going to have an audio file that was going to be just your parents talking to you through the egg. I was actually going to try to get my real life mother to try and record those lines if I ever got to making the game. But then the game actually starts with you hatching and you're a youngling, and you living in the nest, in the den, whatever, was the tutorial. But just the fact that loading this game and seeing the egg and new life just immediately put me into the headspace of like, this is what I wanted.
And then when you went back for future plays, did you still get emotional at the main screen again?
I get a little emotional every time I see it.
The music they play in the main menu is absolutely transcendent.
Yes. I will admit, like, my first time here, I think right as, like, just the finishing of the Dreaming Door finishes loading, like, I was already getting teared up. Like, if this is my kind of piano music.
Yeah.
I don't even like piano music,
comes out the
and I
gate
loved
swinging.
it. I really honestly don't like piano music, mostly because for most of my childhood, there's always been a piano in the house, and someone's always coming over and slamming on it for no reason. And so just the sound of a piano just is like nails in a chalkboard for me usually. But this music was so fucking beautiful.
My favorite instrument in the world is the cello, and some of these songs do have cello bits in it. So there you go.
Cello bits.
Cello.
Cello bits.
What's wrong with cello bits?
I don't know. It just sounds cute.
It is an interesting word.
No, the two together. Cello bits. I don't know.
Sounds like you're saying Jello.
Yeah,
bits.
It sounds like a snack.
I'm gonna bite both of you. All right, so yes, music, triple S tier by the soundtrack.
Yes.
I guess the dialogue / writing style, we usually talk about that a bit.
I do want to say one more thing on music. Like, the only music that really grated on me was the hunting, because again, hunting so much. Still, even though I forgot occasionally, the hunting song is the most annoying to me now because of how much I've heard it.
Oh no, I still love the hunting song.
For me, it was the Dance of Destruction song.
The combat rather than the hunt.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's what I meant. Yeah, the Dance of Destruction. That's the one I'm talking about. The dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I still love it. I don't think there's any song I don't like.
I take Venter's side on this only because, all right, so depending on the type of gameplay that you go through, the choices you make, you end up either in a lot of combats or not a lot of combats, and I ended up in a lot of combats. So,
dude, my last playthrough to try to get the secret ending, I did surprisingly few combats, hunts included, because there were so many events that'll give you food if you do a certain option that I think I hunted twice in the entire playthrough. But yeah, so the dialogue / the writing style, it's otherworldly. Like,
yes.
A lot of times when you read things with dragons or like anything else besides, it feels like I'm gonna use. I don't remember where I read this, but I'm gonna use someone else's term. I think it was Ludwig himself. Human in a dragon suit, just the way it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way they think, the way they talk, and all that. This
Yeah,
was
just like a human.
This was a completely alien viewpoint, and it actually felt like it.
The dragon does describe human hands as four paws. He ascribes terminology that he would use for himself to other things. So, for example, hooves on things like deer and cows are called stone toe or something like that. And the terminology that he uses, as I said, for humans is four paws instead of hands, or rear paws, or whatever. He doesn't ever use the word feet or hands. So it does sound like a dragon going, "Oh, look at that thing."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the world that he built with his writing, through like the culture, I guess you call it the religion, the terminology and all that, it feels really rich and full. And it's like, I want an encyclopedia of just all the lore.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Ludwig, release an art book or like a you know how like a lot of video games, they'll have like a concept art book with like messages from the developer. Do that. It will sell.
Just so, a lot of people love Lord of the Rings, and a very small percentage of those have read the Silmarillion. So I'm not saying to write a Silmarillion because I don't know how well it would sell, but I would love one. Just make it for me personally.
All right, so should we address the terrible crime I committed?
Okay.
I'm asking.
Bantam likes to cheat in video games.
So I mean, no disrespect to the developer. I absolutely love this game. 10 out of 10.
No, he means disrespect to me, is what it is.
Yeah. No, I don't mean disrespect to Ludwig either. I played my first playthrough, like, you know, a wide-eyed child. I was just like, yeah, this is great. I'm gonna go explore this. Oh, I'm in a fight? Oh, okay. Oh, I died.
And then he died to a mushroom.
And no, so the very first death, I was killed by a sheep. So this was in part.
Was this the tame sheep in
Yes.
the tailless?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I lost 2 head-to-heads and died. And
You make fun of me for dying to a cat, but I mean, that's a sheep.
the second, first of all, a sheep is way
Cats
bigger.
are these predators.
Yeah, but they're also very small. This was
Yeah, you also have very small hatchling.
it just, all it had to do
That
was
is true.
stomp on me, and but at any rate, so my very first death in this entire game was to a sheep. My second death was to starvation. My third and final death was to
The mushroom.
the mushrooms, which technically are a spoiler.
Well, that's still in the first
Yes.
chapter.
Right, but should we deprive people of their gotcha death?
No, whatever. But
There's other gotcha deaths.
point being is that I immediately was like, oh, I guess I'm dead permanently, so I guess they start over. And then it was like, you can start over from part 1. And I was like, oh, great. And so I applied all my stat points, and then I went back out. I starved to death twice, and then died in combat with... No, actually, I starved to death twice, and then the third one was I was in a dungeon, and I did not have the stat requirement to get past a certain obstacle, and I was absolutely decimated. And so I had to start over a third time. By then, I was Googling for cheat engine to see if anybody had anything that would allow me to see more of the game, because at this point I was like, I don't know if I can deal with going through all this again. Like, it was making me frustrated. The game is still great, but to me, every game should have difficulty sliders. One of my favorite games of all time, Deus Ex: The Human Revolution, it actually has a tell me a story difficulty mode, where basically you'd have to be a complete moron to lose. And I prefer playing games
But
that
you are.
way. Huh?
But you are completely
I
wrong.
know that. That's why I picked that option. But so this game didn't have that. And there are some things that are not, yes or no binary. Your elemental masteries, sometimes when you have a choice to make, when you hover over the choice, one of your elements will pop up on the screen, and it will be red, yellow, or green. If it's green, it means you will succeed. If it's red, you will not. However, it could also be yellow, which means that you might actually succeed. And more often than not, it didn't for me. But
I think the idea is you as a Drac can need to weigh the pros and cons and see if this is worth the risk.
So the thing is that this game and its lore and its world and its writing were so beautiful. I wanted to experience it while removing anything that could potentially aggravate me. So I found a cheat engine script that gave me infinite health, infinite hunger, and basically gave me full mastery from level 10 straight up to level 10 mastery on all 4 elements in the first act, which turns out crashes your game. But after turning that off, because you're not able to get it up to 10 in the first area.
Yeah, you're capped at 5 as a hatchling,
Capped at
8 as a juvenile, and you can only get to 10 when you're an adult.
So I had to undo that, but basically I played through the rest of it with infinite health and infinite energy because I really just wanted to experience the events. But in doing so,
Ray does not approve.
What?
I said Ray does not approve.
Yeah, no, Ray did not approve. But in doing so, I got to see some really cool stuff that, other people might not have ever done, which in the first map zone, there's a human village. And no matter what you do, I think there's not really anything to do with it. It's supposed to be there as a red herring to show you that the humans could potentially be a threat to you. Because if you decide to attack them, you fight a human guard. If you win, you fight another human guard. If you win, it continues forever.
Yep.
I think I killed about 20 before I realized, okay, this isn't ending, and I left. Because I was like, oh man, this is going to be a huge payoff. I wonder what will happen after I kill all these soldiers. No, nothing.
Except for get their attention and lose more days.
Yeah. Oh, so that was the other cheat I used. So I didn't know this going into it. I didn't know that the compass would prevent you from. So the compass is tracking how many days until your first great sleep, which will pass you into part 2. I didn't know that there wasn't going to be enough time to do everything, but I know that I wanted to do everything, and so I turned the compass off. And so the compass was always set to the first day, and the humans were always no longer wary of my presence. And I went and did every event. And I don't regret it because that's how much I loved the writing of the game. And
I'm getting salty just listening to this.
I know you are. However, I ended up having to restart anyway because, again, using cheat engine can flip a few flags or cause some, anomalous data. So I had to restart anyway, and Ray supervised for the rest of it, and I didn't cheat an entire playthrough.
Dragon's hat.
Growl.
We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, I will say, I think part of the reason that I got so hostile when I found out you did that was, first of all, it's like, how dare you cheapen the experience for yourself, because obviously the game was intended to be experienced this way. Like, without any of the danger, without any of the threat, there was really no point to anything else. The other part was, again, like I said, that this was the closest to perfect that it has ever been, and I see a lot of what I wanted to do with my game in this. I think hearing you cheat, I actually took it personally, like, wow, I guess if I made my game, he would cheat in it too, huh?
I'd like to sort of step in for Bantam. Like, I get what you want. Like, because if you do run into a lot of the barriers that keep you from the story, you just want to get turned off from the story, but you want to know what happened. So I think that's why I did it. But I understand your side of it, where like that's getting rid of the experience of the game itself.
The thing that I stressed to Ray when this whole thing came to a head, because it did. The thing I expressed to Ray was that one of two things are going to happen for me. And this is just the way I am. Again, I like my experiences easy because I like being told a story. I like experiencing a game world. Whether or not I'm experiencing the world the way it was meant to be experienced, it's not really, it's up to me. I bought the game, and I'm going to enjoy it the way I want. There are people who speedrun games by using glitches. Is that the way the developer intended? No. But
they play through it the first time naturally.
But here's the thing. There were two outcomes for this. Either I play the game with cheats so that I can continue enjoying the game, or I just don't play it anymore because I'm being frustrated. And if I get frustrated, I do not want to play the game anymore. So I would have deprived myself of the experience entirely. At least this way I got to experience the story, as opposed to going, I don't really want to start this over a 5th time, so I'm just going to put it down. And there are plenty of games in my Steam library that I bought, got frustrated with, found out there weren't any cheats for it, and just went, oh well, and then uninstalled it and archived it.
That's kind of how Cake Tropolis went for me.
You didn't finish Cake Tropolis?
No, I couldn't find the first person I was supposed to find
Oh my
in the
God.
town, so I was like, okay.
Well, the problem was is that you had
Cake Tropolis did need a better guide with some of these hunting.
Well, the
non-people
problem
quests.
was is that the person you needed to talk to was there, but until you found out where he was, he wouldn't properly flick the
Yeah, you had to go to the east of the farm to talk to the people there to find out where their dad was, and then you can go talk to him at the cake store.
Because even if you knew that he was standing there, he would just be like, "Who are you?" And then dialogue ends.
Yeah, but yeah. All right, so Bantam, let's try to take this as a learning experience. That might be the wrong term, but just what about the game would need to be different for you to not have wanted to cheat?
So hunger went down way too quickly for me, in my opinion. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe I was just so engrossed in the world that I wasn't paying attention at all.
Keep in mind that some of your actions will lose energy because you're expanding it.
Yeah, well, I understood that. I almost always used Swift Strike. I never used Fire.
Yeah, Fire Breath in combat will take energy, so does a couple other things. But your dialogue choices in some of the events, anything that requires effort will usually drain energy.
So the thing is Venter may not know this unless he's listened to some of the episodes. I am the podcast human hater. I do not like humans in games and media. They're always a problem. And to some degree they are in this one as well. But anytime humans are involved in a narrative, it's always bad for the dragon, almost always. And it's no different here. The very first experience you have with humans is them murdering your parent, your creator. You're
one of your creators.
You're sitting there watching as they kill / or your parent is already killed, and they're just carving out pieces and taking trophies. That immediately...
See, that's what made me mad.
It immediately gave me one clear objective. Kill every human I came across, which I did. Very brutally.
The thing is, while I agree with that, because I dislike humans sometimes, you have such a blind hatred for them, or I believe they have some uses. Dilitan would rather just avoid them completely, so we need to find a 4th dragon who actually loves them so we can have all 4 viewpoints. But anyway, tangent. While I agree with you that, yes, that actually stirred me to a righteous anger as well, at the same time, you are a hatchling. You cannot do anything about it now. If they killed an adult, what chance do you have?
Yeah. Well, because, in our heads, we're always heroes. People are always imagining standing up.
But you can't be in your head. You got to be in the dragon's head.
Again, let me finish. In everyone's head, they are David versus Goliath. It doesn't matter how bad the odds are. My anger and my righteousness will win. And
what if I want to be Goliath versus David?
And so there are some events on the first map. One of them is a bunch of children playing in a creek. And you get a bunch of different options, but one of them is, he's by himself and undefended. Kill him. And I was like, yep, fastest click I've ever done in this game. And
Ripperoni future event.
And even when Ray told me, hey, you kind of fucked up a future event, I'm like, don't care. And later on in the game, there's other opportunities to kill humans, and I took every single one of them, like, gladly. And you know what? To Ludwig's credit, the writing, beautiful. Every single time. It actually quelled some of my rage. Reading what I do when I click that option gave me an adrenaline rush. It gave me a dopamine hit.
Ludwig definitely gets some credit for not being squeamish about some of the scenarios you can find yourself in.
Because I could see it going any other way. I could see the developer kind of chastising you for your choice in the dialogue descriptions. This helpless, unarmed child was obviously no match for you. I don't know what made you think that, this was the right course of action, but I guess you do you. It could just kind of fourth wall you for a little bit. Like, you're a monster. Why would you do this? But nope. It's like, this is the choice you made. This is what happens. This is how it makes you feel. And like, as the dragon, and he felt proud, like he wrote it as, I made the right decision for me. And it was perfect. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I kind of got addicted to it, because I did get a dopamine hit after, yes, murdering a child in the game. But every time I came across humans, I was scrolling through the options and going, what's the absolute worst thing I could do to them? And it was fun. It was fun for me. I went into this game wanting to roleplay a certain dragon, and that dragon was unlimited compassion, kindness, and love for animals and the forest and the land, and unending, unbridled hatred for humans.
You realize most of our listeners are probably humans, right?
I mean, what? No.
All right. Any other thoughts on the game itself? It's aspects of it.
I also enjoyed the riddles.
There were a couple riddles which I thought were all very easy. I got them all first.
Oh yeah, there's some easy, yes.
Dilitan failed all of the riddles he came across.
I easily passed the first few, but later on in the game there was a riddle that to me had an open interpretation, and a lot of things could have fit in there. And when I explained it to Ray, he just gave me a look like, "What are you, stupid?" And I was like, "All right, maybe I am stupid."
Yeah, there was only one riddle in the whole game that I did not get on my first try, and that was only because its wording was a little weird. Well, which one was it? Either way, it's in part 3, so that'll be in the spoiler section, but I'll try to remember what the riddle was.
And then, like, some of them do have dual riddles. Like, I believe this is the wording. It's born of earth and wind, or water and wind, or earth and water. Only myself when... Or no, it is earth, air, and water. Sorry. Now I remember, because I know what the other one is. Born of air and water, or water and air. Only myself when I'm with my kin. Under paw, soft as I ever was, or something like that. Dang, I can't remember the exact wording.
I know which one you're talking about. And
it's funny, like, I picked one, but everyone else that I ask, like, what they think the answer is, they usually go for the other answer. And again, like, I told Ray the riddle before I even played, but I wasn't about to give any of the answers to it. I was like, you're going to discover that answer by yourself here now, or when you're in the game. I'm not giving any of them away.
Yeah. I am born of water and wind, only myself when I am with my kind. Though I may feel soft beneath your paws, in truth I am as hard as I ever was. That's the riddle that you're having trouble.
All right, one more time. Let me see if I can get it, because I didn't get that riddle.
Born of water and wind,
only myself when I am with my kind. Though I may feel soft beneath your paws, in truth I am as hard as I ever was.
Yeah, you didn't. No, you made to.
He did not do
it. Oh, but I guess you maybe didn't get to that riddle spot.
I know he didn't do that event, or he didn't do it properly.
How dare you?
I didn't do it properly either, because
let's just say he got the pearl instead of the shell.
Yeah, the pearl. Yeah.
Yeah.
My kind self always.
Okay,
got the pearl
I actually don't know the answer to that.
I'm going to cut this out of the podcast.
Wait, yeah, okay.
I'm going to cut this out of the podcast, but the answer... But yeah, okay, so... Point is, Dilitan failed every riddle he came across. Even the ones that Twist gives you. I'm not kidding. Luckily, he was streaming that for Bantam and I, so we're like... Before he finished, we're like, Dilitan, you're stupid. No.
He is lucky he even got the riddles. I always tried to be kind, and since being kind to Twist, it actually makes you fight him.
Yeah, I tried to. So I went compassion and kindness route, and the first thing I did was I tried to pity Twist, and he reacted violently, and he was like, "How dare you!" And he did a dance of destruction with me, and I lost, and that was the end of my third playthrough.
Yeah, I think I lost to him like 3 or 4 times.
Wow. Okay.
Again, I didn't have riddles. If I had the riddles, I would have beat him.
I don't know if I'm a proper dragon or if I'm just an asshole, but I did not have to ever fight him. I'm just like, hey, get out.
Hey, get out.
Yeah, but yeah. There was something I was going to bring up. Oh, yeah. So I guess fair warning to the future prospective players. There are some riddles and there's a lot of math.
Oh,
Oh
There's
my
Oh,
god.
there's only one section that has a lot
No,
of math.
Yeah.
well, that section, if it weren't for the fact that Ray was standing behind me, like, insulting my quick math ability, but oh my god.
Okay.
Like, I was like, the first couple questions, I was like, what's 2 plus 2? Oh, 4. Okay. What's 2 plus 2 minus 3 plus 8? And I'm like, oh, whatever. But then it was like, what's this minus this times this
But with the
with
product of this,
and I was like, and then Ray would be behind me going, it's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the thing is that if I had all the time in the world, I'm just not good at doing math in my head. I have to write it out.
yeah. See, like I sometimes had to open up my calculator app.
But with
What is that? What's the calculator?
that's a Kobold device. I know what it is because I hang
Yep.
out with Kobolds.
Kobold with an abacus.
Yep. But no, a calculator is just 2 Kobolds. But yeah, there were a lot of times like so in the, without spoiling it, there's a maze that you have to get through, and every few screens you have a chance of spawning an eel, and the eel
it is an eel. Yeah, it's an eel.
will be like, it's
Pop
quick
quiz.
quiz time, and I'm like, what? And then there's a timer on the screen. And I'm like, oh God, and it's like 8 different stages of math, and I'm like, I'm terrible at math.
And what I found worst about that though is then it spawned you back in a certain spot in the maze, not where you were.
Really?
Yes, always back in the infinity realm.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about the wraparound aspect.
Oh. It's probably one of the only low points of this entire game.
So okay, fine. So like, I don't think there's any final thoughts. We went over everything about the game, right? Writing,
Yeah.
art, music.
I do
story.
have one final thought.
Yes.
Despite the fact that I cheated, I again just feel like that is a handicap that I chose to add to myself. It is a single player game. I didn't ruin anyone else. Like it's not a.
You ruined my fun.
I ruined your fun, but I do that on a daily basis. So, but I still say that even the way this game is, because I went into it not knowing what to expect, and the reality of this game hit me like a brick. And so, yes, the game does have the roguelite elements, and therefore every time you restart, you will be stronger. But after my third final death, which ended my game, I just wanted to get through it. And that is not to say that this game is bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just
to say that Bantam has no patience whatsoever.
It's to say that I have no patience and that I prefer my games to take me by the hand and walk me gently through them. And any difficulty is met with, I wonder if there's any cheats for this game. Like any difficulty.
All right, so Bantam,
Yes.
X out of 5, and then would you live in this world?
10 out of 5. No. I would not.
Is it because there's not a full blown society? Like
Uh,
they're still in caves?
Because humans exist in it.
It's because
Oh.
it's because humans exist and they're already a threat. That's why. It's
true.
if they were.
I'm pretty sure his problem is that dragons are already on the decline again.
They're already on the decline, and the humans have already developed metal tools and metal weapons and armor, and they've already become skilled at hunting dragons. If they were,
what year or time period do you think this is supposed to take place?
I think
it looks like
the
Roman
Bronze
times.
Age,
Yeah,
right?
Bronze Age, because some of the later on in the game, you do encounter soldiers, and they're wearing plate chest guards, plate helmets. Later on, there's actually a soldier that's wearing what looks like a Roman centurion or gladiator helmet. But essentially, they're wearing rags, furs, and some of the higher ranked soldiers will have things like swords, spears, or metal armor.
Okay. All right, Venter, X out of 5, and would you live here?
8 out of 5 and possibly. But
Did I ask you guys out of 5 or out of 10? I'm not sure anymore.
You said 5. I said 10
And you
out of
guys don't
5,
give
and
him-
he says 8 out of 5.
Okay.
If you said out of 10, I would have said 20 out of 10.
Okay. I'm just like, did you guys understand what I was saying?
Yep.
Because these
No,
numbers...
this game,
the game is that good.
this game is that good.
Okay. And I'm sorry, would you live here? In this world?
I guess, but my answer would also tie into one of the endings, so no, I won't say.
Okay. So yes, with an asterisk, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll put an asterisk on it, and then after we do the spoiler section, then you can say, yes, I'd live in this world, but...
Okay. All right, so myself, if you guys are going to give it a 10 and an 8, I'm going to give it a star out of 5. Because like I said,
1
this
star
game,
out of 5.
Star out of 5. Because this game, like I said before, this game is so close to perfect. It is very close to what I already wanted. And if I were to ever sit down and make my game, I would take a lot of stuff from this game. Like, I've learned some lessons from this game. For example, like, my game initially was going to be 3D, but like, having played through this, I'm like, maybe I could do my idea justice as a 2D game. And like, again, my game was going to kind of start with the hatching. Anytime in the egg was just going to be like a cutscene, basically. I'll probably have an egg part now where you're actually spoken to by one of your parents. So just
What
because
do you mean
how
by one of your parents, Ray?
Why not both?
Why not
Maybe
both?
one died.
I guess it just depends on the story I want to build. The other thing is the problem with the idea for my game is my game was very much a sandbox. Like, it was here's the world, you're a dragon, go do stuff. There were going to be a lot of events. There was going to be like pretend you could only do 20 events in a single lifetime. There was going to be 100 events because I wanted to have so many that it randomly pulled so that each playthrough is different.
No,
right?
that would be a great idea. And the sandbox
Yeah.
idea could definitely work for this style of game.
It could. However, having played through this, I'm thinking maybe I want some sort of story to kind of help tie it all together so it doesn't feel like it's pointless halfway through. But the point being, the game was perfect for me. It's impossible to rank it. It's just, it gets the gold star.
And he only ever has 3. He was only born with 3 gold stars, and he just gave one to you, Ludwig.
I'm saving the other gold stars for the other games to come out afterwards.
Yep.
And yeah, I would live here. Again, Ludwig, I love the culture and the lore you built so much that I actually want to like take parts of it, mostly for like, because I play D&D, I DM Dungeons and Dragons for people. I want to actually take a lot of it and like build it into my own world just because you're just brilliant, completely. I'm probably going to commission art of myself as a Draakkin at some point.
Yeah, speaking of which, I need to send an email to him at some point with all the comics that I found that are based on this game because they are absolutely adorable.
Yeah, we'll ask him if
I bet
he's
he's seen
them.
some of them.
I bet he's seen some of them, but probably not all of them. But
Well, most of them are posted to the Steam community page, so I'm pretty sure you've seen those ones at
that's
least.
true. The shell phone one is the best, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one's on the Steam community
Hey,
page,
kid,
and so I'm sure he's
Want
in
to
that.
talk about water?
Yeah, see,
And-
and you have to answer that riddle correctly to get that.
Yeah,
The one I
and
talked about.
I don't know why the artist decided to draw Fathom completely handsome like that, but I appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna go take our break now. I will probably play the combat music just to trigger Venter. But yeah, we'll be back in a bit, and we'll be going into spoiler territory. We'll talk about the story in more detail, a lot of the characters, and we'll even talk about the endings. So if you have not played the game and you want to, please
no.
go do that now.
No.
Even if you
haven't
don't
played
want
the
to,
game,
I am insisting you go play it.
Go play the game.
Yeah, go
You
play
don't
the
have a
game.
choice.
You
I,
don't.
as your dragon overlord, am telling you to go play this
Go
game
get it.
now. Alright, sorry listeners, but we're going to have to cut this episode here. After we finished recording, we discovered it was 3.5 hours long, which is pretty long for a single episode. So, next episode will be the second half, where we talk about all the spoiler things. This actually gives you all time to go and play it for yourself, because, like we said earlier, this game is much better experience to yourself. Once you hear us talk about it, it's going to lose a lot of its impact. So, go do that, and we'll see you next time. Alright, so Bantam, where can they find us?
Oh, crap.
You don't have your socials
I
up?
don't have them up, no. All right. So you can find us on Twitter at officialwadpod. Our email is wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. And our Patreon is World of Dragons Podcast. Definitely take a look at the Twitter because the contest will be there. If you don't have a Twitter and you still want to try to get that key, then you email us at the wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. And all of our socials will be in the show notes.